invite John Michael Hanks up, who is an alumnus. I'd like to have him tell you a little bit about his Chamberlain-Hunt experience. I'd like you just to recognize those of you who are cadre members currently, if you would stand, and I want you folks to see who these people are who are Chamberlain-Hunt. You recognize the cadets in the back because they're in uniform, but the Chamberlain-Hunt cadre members, these are not all of us, but these are men and women who have, for the most part, moved to Port Gibson just to be part of this ministry. Thanks. And the reason we're there is because of people like this young man, John Michael Hanks. So, John Michael.
This is good.
Good evening. I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for coming and allowing me this opportunity to speak tonight. I'd also like to recognize Mr. Jack West. Throughout my time at Chamberlain-Hunt, he's been a person who I've sought to emulate because of the core beliefs and Christian values that he demonstrates in his everyday life. I can't say enough about the respect that I have for this man, as well as for his vision for the Academy as president. As many of you know, Chamberlain-Hunt Academy is a school that is often represented by the words Christian military boarding. While these three words hold true in every aspect, they don't do justice in describing the role that this school plays in the lives of young men who attend. A common misperception of CHA is that it's a place for troubled teens. Well, if you define a troubled teen as an adolescent who lacks respect for authority or is reluctant to adhere to rules, then yes, I'd agree. Because these are struggles that all young men have to deal with. And this is exactly the place that Chamberlain-Hunt, or this is exactly the reason that Chamberlain-Hunt is here. Sorry, excuse me. Chamberlain-Hunt is an institution that serves as an alternative for the worldly challenges that we all face. I was one of these boys who needed an opportunity like this so desperately. Just to give you some insight on my life, I was raised as a single parent in a single parent family. My mom's a great parent, and she's my greatest fan. My mom's sitting right there in the pig. She's always been willing to sacrifice for me in order to ensure that I had the necessary resources needed to become a productive member of society. That being said, I was a pretty rebellious kid. I struggled not only academically, but also behaviorally. The older I became, the more difficult she found it to play the role of both mom and dad in our household. She was frustrated, and like any good parent, she didn't want to sit by and watch as her son traveled down the wrong path. As a result, she chose to turn to Chamberlain-Hunt Academy to be a guiding force in my life. I can now say with complete certainty that it's the single best decision she's ever made for me. Now, I'm not going to pretend that Chamberlain-Hunt is a place where the typical teenager wants to be, because it's not. However, ask many of the cadets and they'll agree that it's made a much-needed positive impact in their lives. Whether that be spiritual, physical, or academic, this change is due to the numerous unique aspects that a school like Chamberlain-Hunt brings to the table. Maybe the most readily visible of these is Chamberlain-Hunt's commitment to military structure. All the cadets wear uniforms. They all have shaved heads. As you can imagine, I wasn't exactly thrilled about this when I arrived as a 10th grader. I was even less excited to know that boys of my age group were going to be handed the authority to tell me what to do, to give me orders. However, I realized that this wasn't necessarily a bad thing. This structured environment helps teach important life lessons, such as actions having consequences. These enforced ideals of responsibility and accountability were beneficial to me in my maturation process. But cadets also learn discipline. Many times that carries over from their personal lives into the classroom. For a lot of the students, they're able to achieve academic success for the very first time. As any parent knows, the self-confidence sustained in these children as a result, as well as their continued desire to excel, isn't something you can put a numerical or monetary value on. However, CHA doesn't thrive on structure alone, and that's why it's important that we give a lot of credit to the people that are employed in this academy. These men and women all share an obvious conviction and their belief in the mission of the school to better the lives of young men. For this faculty and staff, it's no 9-to-5 job, and that's by choice. The cadre genuinely care about the cadets, and they exemplify this, whether it be through mentorship when a child is struggling, or even by inviting these young men into their houses just to enjoy each other's companies. I've never experienced anything like this, and where there is a true sense of family, and a place that becomes every cadet's home away from home. But most importantly, there's a special emphasis on Christian principles at Chamberlain-Hunt. To be honest, God was never really a priority to me growing up. Before attending CHA, I went to church, but my motivations were more for socializing with friends than anything else. However, this changed. The daily routines that every cadet takes a part in, such as devotions and memorization of catechisms, proved to be very valuable to me because it gave me a better understanding of what the Christian faith is about. This, coupled with the example that the cadre set for the cadets, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. This, coupled with the example that the cadre set for the cadets, allowed me to realize the importance of having God as a part of my life. For the first time, I had a hunger to know Christ. Now, I'm not claiming to be perfect by any means, but I do love God. And I can honestly say that I try to execute Christian ideals in all of my personal endeavors. Looking back on my time at CHA, I have no doubts that it's a place that I needed to be. I'm currently on a full academic scholarship at the University of Mississippi. I have a 3.6 GPA in banking and finance. These are things that I take pride in, not merely because of my accomplishments, but because I know that going to college is an opportunity that I wouldn't have had were it not for the guidance that Chamberlain-Hunt offered me. It gives me a lot of joy to know that my mom's proud of the person that I've become. But I'm no exception. And in a lot of ways, my story isn't unique from those of other cadets. I feel it's an honor to say that I'm a graduate of Chamberlain-Hunt Academy. I really believe in what this school stands for, and I'm grateful for the impact that it's had in my life. That being said, I want to continue to see it thrive. I want to continue to see it thrive as a school committed to serving the needs of young men who face the very same challenges I did. So again, thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you all for the support that you've given this outstanding establishment. Thank you.